mission, trying to get it right. Transition, changing the way that I see life. Transition mind. I'm on a mission, trying to get it right. I'm transitioning my life. Making a transition. Ooh, making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Turn a mission. I'm on a mission. On a mission, I'm trying to get it right. Changing the way that I see life. Transition in my life. On a mission. On a mission. On a mission.
Welcome to Alchemizing Energy. So today this is going to be like a preview discussing some of the events that we're going to be discussing tomorrow with Taylor House Publishing, Richard Taylor. He has a very great platform where he discusses some of the events that's going on with these trials and everything like that. And I wanted to like kind of give you an idea and show you some of the details that he has been able to come across when it comes down to these cases, when it comes to police brutality, the unaliving of people, etc. So without further ado, I wanted to start off with this particular video where he talks about the initial contact that the officers had. And this was a very great, please check his channel out. Let's go.
And you pull up on this vehicle, and there's 2 officers and 2 squad cars. And you have a vehicle with 4 individuals in that car. There's no way that 2 officers approach that car with 4 individuals in it, because you can't apprehend those individuals. You know what I'm saying? You already know it's a stolen vehicle. They're already sleeping in that stolen vehicle. So you know there's a probability that there's weapons there. So, no. Every cop I talk to, I worked next to cops for 20 years. I talked to like at least 10 different cops about this, and they all said the same thing. So, but no, that video just made me so upset, because it's like they're completely lying. And those cops knew what they were doing. I mean, they were on some glory seeking, is what they really were doing. And that's what happened.
Okay.
But yeah, if you get a chance to talk to some other cops, yeah, but yeah, this is like the 3rd time I watched your video. I'm gonna have to go in and subscribe, but yeah, man, that's just, there's no way. They should have had at least 5 cops there.
Mm-hmm.
They should have had at least 5 cops there. They should have had cops in front of that vehicle, and on the side, and 2 cops on the other side of that vehicle, so that when those guys got up and they looked, they realized, hey, we're surrounded.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get out. We're not gonna run. That's how that should have went down.
Yeah.
But for 2 cops to try to individual, it's just crazy. And the way they paid Doctor that video, that's crazy. That's what that dad did. What he did.
All right. Peace and blessings. All praises to the Most High. Proverbs 22:8 says, whoever sows injustice will reap destruction, and the rod of their fury will fail. And what you just heard is a expert witness exposing the lies and the manipulation of this woman, Cincinnati Police Chief Teresa Teague. I think that's how you say her name. She is the one who is sowing injustice in this instance, in the case of Ryan Hinton Jr., whose life was taken by Cincinnati police in the most violent fashion. And in this video, we are going to expose the lies that she puts forth in this video. But I'm also going to play you testimony from another photographic expert who's going to analyze these photos and tell you how and why they are doctored. So we're going to go back to this interview that she did shortly after the death of our young brother, Ryan Hinton. And we're going to break down all of the lies and all the manipulation that she puts forth throughout the video.
So bottom line is that there's a lot of like really crazy things when it really comes down to it. He was able to Mr. Taylor was able to even break down the fact that that when he was actually I would say executed, that at the end of the day he was nowhere near, it was not the pictures that they're showing, so let me go into that. What they showed as what happened, you have like a two different stories, and let's go into the how what he was able to uncover and some of the details of what he was able to uncover. Let's go.
Never showed it. Watch this.
We are trained to use our vehicles as cover from any threat. That's what those officers did with the cars at that time.
Now, you see how clear that body cam footage is. Look at how clear that body cam footage is. Now, watch how it all of a sudden becomes so blurry that you can't see.
This is body worn camera from officer number 2. Go ahead, Bobby.
You see how when he starts running, it automatically gets blurry. Watch this.
He's got a gun. He's got a gun on your right. On your right. He's got a gun.
And you see right there, they move the camera so you can't see when young Ryan was shot. But I'm going to show you a photo that shows exactly when he was shot, and it was much further than the point at which they're going to show you in these pictures. Just watch this.
So just to give you an idea, we have the 2 uniformed cars. We have 2 officers. There's 4 individuals in the stolen vehicle. All 4 individuals get out and start running, some in different directions. So officers decide which individual they're going to pursue. One officer decides to pursue the individual who we now know had a firearm in his hand. The other officer pursued another occupant that fled from the vehicle. And that'll be significant here in a moment when you see. So this is a still image. Again, I'm going to step out front.
They're showing you a still image. And I'm going to show you why they're showing these still images.
This way, okay? They are chasing the individual. So officer number 1 is chasing this guy right here. Okay, this is the guy we ultimately end up shooting.
So if an officer is chasing him from this way, why does this officer need to come from this way and shoot him? Why wouldn't this officer also see something that's fishy? If he's running with a pistol in his hand, wouldn't that officer see that and say freeze, or you have drop the gun or whatever?
Yep.
Now you see how blurry that still image is. You see how blurry, like you cannot even see the trees, right? You can't even see the trees. It looks like a big green blur. And let me show you this picture of it as well. You see again, you see how blurry that is. You can't even see the writing on the dumpster. Like everything is a blur. Look at the trees and everything. But I'm going to show you some other photos from another news clip where they are much clearer, which shows that these photos that they are showing at the news conference have been doctored.
Who actually fires the shot on this individual is chasing a different individual further out this way, in this direction. Okay? As this officer is chasing him, he sees a firearm in his hand and he yells, gun, gun, he's got a gun. This individual slips, trips, whatever, falls on the concrete right here. Other officers that were also there say in their interview, they heard the firearm hit the concrete. They heard the metal from the firearm hit the concrete.
Now she just said it was 2 officers. Okay. Now she's saying it was other officers there that heard the firearm. Now, which one is it? Was it multiple officers, then 2? Or were there 2 officers, one chasing one guy and the other chasing this main guy that supposedly has the gun from behind? Now she's saying that there's other officers that were there that heard the gun hit the ground.
This individual gets up, still has the firearm in his hand, and continues to run through the dumpsters.
All right, so you actually now you see how clear that picture is, a little clearer, but it's still blurry. Look how clear that picture is, but it's still blurry. And here's a still shot of that picture. Now you see how clear those trash cans are as opposed to these pictures right here. You see how blurry that one is, and you see how clear that is, right? Blurry, clear. Let's go back to the video because I'm gonna show y'all something.
Shouts out to Richard Taylor for allowing me to play this to my
The
audience.
officer who originally saw him with a firearm in his hand.
Now you see that picture right there. That is a still shot, right? That is still. You look at the trees in the background. They are much blurrier than that last photo.
Calling it out. He runs through the dumpsters.
And right there, you see what they did right there? Look at the background of the trees. It's much blurrier.
So they
It's
darkened
much
it up.
blurrier
They
than
changed.
this. And also what they did was hide his body position. So this is the point where they're going to claim that he pointed the gun at the officer.
This officer knows that there's another officer here that is going to ultimately encounter him when he comes through the dumpsters. So he makes him aware of that. He shouts out to him, on your right, on your right. He's on your right. And that's where this individual comes out from between the dumpsters.
Now, here's the thing is that now initially there's 2 officers. There's one officer that's behind the one officer. She said that the officer was chasing him, but there were only 2 officers. So this whole recount of what's happening is not even the truth there anyway. First of all, if you say that there's 2 officers, there's 2 officers. One was chasing directly after the guy. Then you have the one officer that was chasing another person. But then all of a sudden, this other person appears that's over here on the right-hand side that says something that is, see, they're not even getting their own story correct.
This is the other officer, the one who fires the shot. This is his body camera as he approaches the scene.
All right, so I'm about to show y'all something. You see how they conveniently move the camera right when they show this officer's body cam footage of him lively shooting the young man. And this is the last image that they showed you. This image right here. That is the last image that they showed you. But
that is the image that they've been putting on the news. And I want you guys, it's going to surprise you when you see the truth. So watch this. Watch this.
This is actually where the shooting happened. This is a never before seen photo.
That is where the shooting happened.
Wow.
And you can see the smoke coming out of the gun. You can see everything. You can see that he has his back turned away from the officer. He is running away from the officer. He's not, there's no threat of him trying to turn around and shoot the officer. Now, what the news will make you seem like is that he had his pistol facing toward the officer as he was running. But as you can see, is that when this guy's thing was discharged, he's not pointing toward the dumpster. He's pointing towards a tree. And this guy is about, I would say, at least like 3 feet away from the dumpster. And he's facing away from him, running from the officer. You understand? This is the type of nonsense that they put out here. And now you can see why that father was upset. You understand? Now you can see the real reason why this father is upset.
That is the actual shooting of the young man. You can clearly see his back is turned to the officer. Looks like he has on a book bag. And you can actually see the fire coming from his gun. Now, ask yourself, why did they stop the photo here instead of here? You know why? Because that doesn't fit the narrative that the officer felt threatened for his life. That is what they did to us. Now I'm going to show you the other news clip that does the exact same thing, but their photos are much, much clearer before they stop right before the shooting. Check this out.
Resident in the complex. It shows men sleeping in that stolen car right there, and that was at about 9 a.m. A half hour later, police arrived at the scene.
Now, do you see how clear this video is as opposed to the first video they showed us?
9 a.m. A half hour later, police arrived at the scene. In the next 6 seconds, lives would change. Police say the four men jumped from the stolen car.
Now, you see how
Now, here's the thing. Now, if the police rode past there initially and rode off, you know what I'm saying? Why, if the people were of a threat, why would they stay in the car? Why wouldn't they have left the moment the police rode around there? It sounds to me like it sounds like what they're saying is that about an hour beforehand, the police circled around that area where that car was. Then they came back with another car, with two different cars. Came back. Now, if these people were a threat, wouldn't they have left in that moment? If this was a stolen vehicle, why would people in a stolen vehicle watch the police circle around and stay in that location? I mean, these are the other things. I mean, no one's asking these questions. Like, if they came an hour beforehand and saw them there, and these are the police, and they're in a stolen vehicle, the moment that police left, they should have left, right? Wouldn't you have left if you stole a car and the police came and didn't notice that the car was stolen? Wouldn't you have left that area? Oh, okay, this is hot. The police are coming around here. But they stayed in the car, supposedly sleeping.
how clear this body camera footage is when the officer is running. Do you see how clear this photo is? You can actually see the trees separate. You can see the trees separate. It's clear. You can actually read what is on those dumpsters, as opposed to these still photos.
And also, they changed the coloring, because look at the dumpster. The dumpster's green. The dumpster looks like it's a brown and a green. But when they actually took those other pictures and showed it on the police thing, they darkened it up.
That the police showed us. Look at the difference of the resolution. Look at that. You can't even hardly tell. You can't even separate the tree line from the trees. Look how different these pictures are. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference? And this is a still shot of this video. Do you see how clear, much clearer that resolution is? And also, look at the difference. I'm going to play the other video. Look at the difference of this officer running up in this recording as opposed to the first one. Look at the first one.
Go ahead, Bobby.
And there you see them cut the picture. But let's go back to this picture once again. This is the other news station with a clear-cut resolution. Now I'm going to play the rest of that video so you can see where they stopped the footage at.
From the stolen car and ran when they were told to stop. Now, one of those men, Ryan Hinton, was shot by police. This is the gun that he had recovered at the scene, that police recovered at the scene. He also had 2 full magazines and a round in the chamber. Now to the video. First, we are going to show you the body cam video that was worn by that officer who shot and killed Hinton. That will be followed by Chief Thege's answer when I asked whether the suspect pointed his gun at the officer, and then I'm going to help clarify what the chief said.
See how they paused it? And it's clear as day. He's running. He is running. He's not pointing a gun.
It's this right here. Watch how it goes from blurry to clear. You see how blurry it is now? Now when you get right here, it's clear as day. Clear as day. And I'm going to show you another still shot of it. This is that picture still. You see how clear that is from the news station as opposed to these pictures. Right? Look at this. Look at these pictures. This is pretty much the same situation. You see how?
And also, do you notice this white thing right here? Okay. So they're trying to say that this little white thing is him running with a pistol in his hand, and that the police mistook this white little piece right here as a gun pointing towards him. Let's go.
Blurry that is. Look how clear that is.
You see this? He's running, and there is a hole. It's that the little white thing right here is where they're saying that was a gun pointing toward him.
Blurry, clear. You got to watch this. Blurry, clear. Now, I think we all get the picture. Let's play the rest of the video. This is where they're going to stop it. Now, did y'all hear that?
So he had his pistol pulled out on him when he was here. The guy ran about 3 more feet. This officer turned his pistol towards this guy as he was running and shot him in his back. This is why the father is upset. Anyone seeing this would be like, "What in the world?" So it went. So watch this. So watch this now.
Stopped it at this photo here. Clearly, he's not looking at the officer and he's not pointing a gun at him. But they stopped it here to make it seem like that is where he was shot. But as we know now, from this picture, this is where the young man was actually shot. This is insidious and pure evil. Insidious and pure evil.
So now that we have context, right? Now that we have context, we understand why a father would be so upset. Why would this father be upset? Why would he lash out the way that he did? Okay? Why would he lash out? Why would this father right here? And then they're even saying that he wasn't the one that was driving the car. That's going to be something I'm going to talk about a little bit later on. But let's go into what Tariq Nasheed had to say about the situation.
I had some Alabama yams missing the hell out of this damn. We go to Birmingham. There's a chicken spot. They got a couple of. I hope everybody gave me a reading about race wars. They've been talking about that for the past couple of days. I've seen a couple of videos of these white supremacists trying to intimidate Black society as a whole, talking about we don't really want a race war. Where's this race war talk coming from? And why are they talking about a race war? Family, this race war talk is coming out of the Rodney Hinton situation. See, that's where this race war talk is coming from. This is coming out of the Rodney Hinton situation up there in Cincinnati. And the white supremacists, they're trying to do some psychological intimidation. This is a psyop that they're trying to do. The Rodney Hinton situation, it really has the white supremacists shook. I want y'all to understand this situation is very heavy. The white supremacists are very shook. White law enforcement, they are very shook because of the Rodney Hinton situation. Why are they shook? And we've been talking about this for the past couple of days, but we got to really get deep and do a deep dive into it. See, Rodney, for those who don't know, Rodney Hinton, this was a father in Cincinnati. His son was shot unjustly by race soldiers within the police department there. They lied about what happened. They lied and said the son pointed a gun at the police, which he didn't. They said that he was in a stolen car. I'm hearing reports that the car wasn't actually stolen, that the car might have been a repo. So nevertheless, the police unjustly killed this man's son and then did the typical lying about it. And this is indicative of Ohio, by the way. They killed Tamir Rice and lied and said he pointed a toy gun at the cop. When you saw the video, he didn't do no such thing. And by the way, there's a video now, 2 white kids, I want to say Arizona, New Mexico, there's somewhere, some white kids who had a real gun pointed at the police, and the police was talking them down and didn't harm these kids whatsoever. So they know how to have decorum. They know how to use their training to not harm a damn child.
Let's go into it, right? So just like he said, a similar situation happened with two white kids where they pointed a loaded gun. Okay. And the situation was way different. You know, the actual way that they responded was completely different. Let's go.
Yeah.
You guys. And 394 has eyes with the drone. It is going to be a handgun, black over white.
All right. Peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. What you're about to see is a video of two young white kids with a live handgun with live rounds in the chamber. Point the gun at police, point the gun as if they are ready to fire at police, and make all sorts of threatening movements while handing back the gun between the two. And these police officers do everything in their power to preserve their life. And the reason this is so disgusting, because I see videos like this of Tamir Rice when he had a toy gun. It within 3 seconds of pointing up on the scene, the cops shoot him dead. You remember? Look at the discrepancy. Tamir Rice was already shot by the time I entered the video. Now, just watch the patience and the care and the value of the life. Keep in mind, Tamir Rice had a toy gun. The person who called said it looked like a toy gun, and he was dead within 3 seconds of police getting on the scene. But just watch these two young boys.
Hey, girls, can you guys drop that? Come talk to me. Just go ahead and drop that.
Put it down, babe. Go ahead and put it down for me, okay?
You're not in trouble.
Right there, look. They're literally, hey, could you please drop that, guys, for me? If those were two black kids, do you think they would still be alive right now? Look how long it takes.
Well, you have to drop that and come talk to us.
They're fighting and pointing the gun, and they haven't been shot yet.
All right.
See if there's a magazine inside the magazine well.
Put it down, baby.
They're playing with the gun back and forth. The one in the blue is trying to take it from the one in the orange.
Put it down, baby.
Just drop it, buddy.
Put it down, babe. You're okay. Put it down.
And now the kid in the
You want
blue
to
and
put all
green
these
has
away,
a
but we
firearm.
need you to put it down, baby.
They have drones and everything that are reporting what's happening with the situation with the kids, everything.
Well, let's not do that. Let's take our hand off, buddy. Let's put it on the ground.
Look how gentle they are. He has his finger on the trigger. They're talking to him. Hey, buddy, please put it on the ground.
He said he has his hand on the trigger.
Hey, guys, put the gun down and come
394 has
talk
a
to
shield.
me.
If you need one, someone else come
Put
back
the
for
gun
it.
down and come and talk to me. It's okay. You're not in trouble, buddy.
Just put it down, babe.
And we'll show you how.
I know. Can you put it down for me?
So they have a drone watching them to make sure and to protect them, to make sure. Well, he's the next one has it. They're reporting back to the police.
Come talk to us.
This is drone footage.
Look at him. He's holding the gun in a threatening manner. Look at him, ready to shoot. And these police are still, put it down, buddy. Tell me if that was a black kid, would he still be alive?
Who has it?
Can you put it on the ground for me, bud?
The one in the blue.
One in the green.
It's going to be in his
It's gonna
left
be in his left hand. He does have his finger on the trigger right now.
Hey,
Put it
Hey,
down.
put it
Don't
down,
do
buddy.
that.
My thing is, why won't the kids listen to the parents?
okay.
Eugene,
What is going on?
put it down, babe.
341. Yeah,
Can you,
back up.
can you lift
You want 40 on that side? If so, I would go ahead and 40.
Where did these
Here?
kids get this gun
I'll
from?
go ahead and 40. If I don't want to do that, why? Y'all do it so many times to young black kids. This, and not that I want to see these young white kids get shot, but seeing what we just saw with Tamir Rice, you have to ask that question: why have they not been shot yet?
Just wait. Let's try to keep talking with them.
Just wait. Keep talking. Tamir Rice never got a word out. They never did anything to prevent Tamir Rice's death with a toy gun. These guys have a real live firearm, and they're positioning like they look like they're ready to have a standoff in a shootout with police. They never dropped the gun.
Passing it back and forth, passing the gun back and forth.
Eugene, put it down, babe, okay? Can you put it down for me so we can talk?
Look at this. Oh my God.
Can you do that for me? Because you're doing a really good job right now.
They're not doing a good job. What are you talking about? They're not doing a good job. What do you see? What are these parents saying? Like, if you don't put that down.
Now he's no longer got his finger on the trigger.
I would go ahead and 40 him, try to knock it out of his arm.
He could have shot himself. He could have. Anything could have happened.
You see, they want to knock it out of an arm. Now 40 is like rubber or bean bullets. It's not deadly lethal shot. So why can't they use those in other instances? Because these are two young white precious kids, right? Hold on, just wait. We're still going to try to talk to them.
What I want you to do is I want you to hit beside them.
Hit the wall.
I want you to
hit beside them. Not why are these officers not fearing for their life? That's what I want to know. Somebody please answer me in the chat. Look how they.
And I think the situation with these kids is way more dangerous because, you know, they don't even know how dangerous these kids don't even know what they're doing. He's got it pointing towards his shoe. He could shoot himself in the foot. There's so many bad things that could have happened with this, right? However, you know, when you get situations like that, and then you have situations like this, where you have a father that's seen the police when a person is running from them and seeing the discharge of a pistol 3 feet away from where they initially showed the picture, but then he's got his back turned, he is running away, and boom, you know what I'm saying? Let's go.
But I digress. But they killed Ryan Hinton, and the father viewed the body cam footage, and they sat there lying to that man and lying to that family, talking about the son pointing a gun when he clearly didn't. So the dad decided allegedly to get vengeance for his son and went out the next day and got in a car and ran down an officer and fatally injured the officer. And that situation has a lot of people in law enforcement, a lot of the race soldiers, and a lot of people in the dominant white society. They are shook because of that situation. Now, why are they so shook? They're going in the court trying to intimidate him, trying to intimidate the family. Race soldiers are sitting up in the courtroom so that the public can't come in there. So why are they shook? Why does this situation have them shook? See, this Rodney Hinton situation, that disrupted the impunity narrative. See, law enforcement relies heavily on the public perception that they can harm Black people without consequences. See, that's their whole thing. They could do whatever they want to do with us, and there's just no consequences. So Hinton's retaliation, that challenges that myth of Black passivity. And that sends a signal that, look, harming us, you don't know what's going to pop off. Everybody ain't going to sit up and let you harm them. Your ass might be a target. So now this got people on alert. So they're looking like, okay, when is the next Rodney Hinton going to pop up? There's no psychological test to see when that's going to happen, because if you harm somebody's kid, you don't know who's going to clap back now. Because see, they're losing the psychological advantage. See, police, they maintain control not by force. They do it by psychological dominance. See, the fear of retaliation, that's supposed to be one-sided. See, in Hinton, he flipped that whole thing. That disrupt that whole emotional leverage. When you look at the video of those cops in court trying to intimidate Hinton, they're nervous. You look at them, and he's walking in that court with his head up every time. He's looking them dead in the eye, and they're all looking down. They're nervous.
You know what's even more crazier about this is that if you actually look, there's actual other eyewitnesses' accounts from the whole situation with Hinton that actually outlines that he was not the one driving the car. Let's this thing is getting more and more bizarre as this whole case unravels. Check this out.
She is the eyewitness who saw it. You see her reply. I promise to God, I made a post, and everything, the man was unconscious in the passenger seat. and it was an older lady driving. They kept asking who the driver was. She kept hysterically crying and falling out like she was in shock. She did that. They are trying to do that man in. I literally tried to get him out the car. He was stuck and not clean out, airbags out and all. And I'm going to show you another couple of posts from that same Facebook thread. Now, remember last week I told you that I received some inside information from a couple of sources that said there was a lady driving that vehicle that killed the deputy in Cincinnati after Rodney Hinton Jr. left the police department. Now, this post also pokes holes in the DA's, the police, the sheriff's theory in their timeline that they released to the public after indicting him on the charges and saying that they were going to seek the death penalty for our young brother. Now, after LaShawn made this post, the girl asked her, look, why don't you go down there and tell them what you saw? And this is her response. No love, Tila. If they aren't using cameras for evidence, they sure TF aren't going to listen to a black woman with a record. It was several of us right there that witnessed this ish. They didn't even care about the dude in the car. Me and one other lady was trying to help him. They didn't care about the black dude, only the officer. And again, I'm going to show you her original post. But remember, this happened supposedly by the University of Cincinnati during graduation time, whatever. And she made a valid point. If all of this happened, where are the cameras? Where are the stoplight cameras? Where are the cameras from the Associated Business or the business in close proximity? Where are the satellite cameras? All of these times that we see accidents and people running from the police and accidents at traffic stops and people running people over, there's always video footage. Why is there no video footage of this accident? Like, there is no coverage even after the accident. You know, when the ambulances are out there, only thing they are showing you is that still picture of the car and the crash. They are no showing you no ambulance footage, no getting people out of the cars. Think about it. This makes what my information given me totally true. Because once again, why are they not showing anything but a narrative? And this is the original post that the young lady put up. Now, I think this has since been taken down. She said, I was literally right there with my effing kids in the car, I assume, with me. I got out to help once I seen I could not do anything. I started crying, and this other lady was praying and grabbed my arm and wrist, and we both started praying while looking at the sheriff, and it was an old lady driving, not no dude. They are lying. This is sad. Now, this is her sharing the post of, you know, that news post that highlighted the crash. Look at that. That's all we have seen. Now, mind you, this is probably from a video. This still shot is in the air. So this is probably from a video, a stop camera light, a satellite video. So why are they not, we have to ask ourselves, why are they not showing us any video proof of the accident? Now, she also
good point. That is I want to give a shout out to Mr. Taylor, you know, of Taylor House Publications, and he's going to be on my show tomorrow, and we're going to go do a deep dive into all this information because, you know, and I want to give a shout out to him for being able to really get the real information about these things, because between this and then you have the other situation where the young man was shot supposedly pranking a house, but come to find out he actually was trying to rob the house, and we're going to get into that afterwards too. But the bottom line is that what I've noticed is that whenever you have a certain person in office, all these kind of situations they tend to increase. You know what I'm saying? So let's go.
Collaborates. The other day, I think it was yesterday, I showed the video where the young brother Rodney Hinton Jr. was walking into the police station. You see him getting out of the car. He's in a hospital gown. He's blurry. He's incoherent. He literally tells the officers, where am I? Where am I? And he's currently charged with something that he was literally a passenger in the car. Now, also, this collaborates, or this proves that what they are saying in their newly released timeline, that they are lying, because it contradicts what they're saying, that what they've said at the beginning of the whole ordeal. Now, you remember the beginning, they told us that Rodney Hinton went to the police department. He watched the video. He got upset and left the building, and no one ever saw him until they got word of the crash. Now, go back and watch the original news articles about this. That is what they said. But this is what they said about 2 days ago when they indicted him for the charge. It says 9:33 a.m. Hinton arrived at the police department. 9:51, Hinton got upset and left the building. 10:37, Hinton left with family members instead of his own car, which he drove there. 12:41, which is about an hour and a half later, Hinton returned to pick up his car. Hinton left. Hinton returned to the police department and drove through the parking lot. How do you know that was Hinton driving, right? 12:50, Hinton left again and headed towards University of Cincinnati campus with his family following him the entire way. Now, mind you, once again, if you go back to the first videos of this incident, they said Hinton left the police department and nobody heard from him. Listen, like, one thing about a lie, you have to continuously change and keep up with the lie to make that lie outlive the truth. Apparently, this lie is not going to outlive the truth. Remember, they said Hinton left the meeting, was so distraught, and nobody ever heard from him since the time of this accident. But here they're telling you he left with a family member. He came back. He left again. He walked out distraught. He drove around the parking lot. He returned, left his car. He returned it. None of this was said before. You see how they are trying to create the narrative as they go. Pretty much, I'm white and I say so. This is what happened, regardless of how many people are saying. And once again, I'm going to show you the actual page. Look at this actual page now. And y'all see this. Let me see. I'm gonna minimize myself so y'all can see it in its entirety. Now, this is an actual Facebook page, LaShawn Hankerson. Now, it looks like she have deleted her page. But this is said, so they're covering up. Listen, I was literally right there with my child in the car. I got out to help once I seen I couldn't do anything. I started crying, and this other lady was praying and grabbed my arm and wrist. And we both started praying while looking at the sheriff, and it was an old lady driving, not no dude. They are lying. And he.
So I wanted to bring this out because the first thing Tariq Nasheed said was recognizing that this is a PSYOP. Okay, recognizing when you're in a PSYOP, a psychological operation. Now, I know that for some reason that the lawyer is telling Mr. Hinton not to speak, don't say anything. And so it's by design that he's going in there. He's not saying a word. He's just quiet, you know. And he looks like he's been bruised and battered. You know, I don't know whether they might have did some things to him while he was in jail as well, you know, because these are the police. But one thing I do want to show is that right here, something is up when the whole police department shows up at like a actual at any kind of a legal case. This is the thing that's weird about this. All these police officers show up at the courthouse while this whole thing is going. Let's go into that.
Is Deputy Larry Henderson from the Cincinnati Police Department. And a day prior to that, the reason they say Rodney Hinton Jr. did this is because a day prior to that, the Cincinnati Police Department blew away his son when his son was involved in some shady practices with his friends who had stolen a vehicle. Rodney Hinton Jr.'s son had an illegal weapon. He was running away from the cops. A cop shot him dead. And Rodney Hinton Jr. decided, you know what? I'm going to lash out against Cincinnati Police Department, and I'm going to kill the first deputy that I see. And the first deputy that he saw was Larry Henderson. Larry wasn't directly involved in the shooting of Hinton's son, but he was a part of the Thin Blue Line cult whose member pulled the trigger. And now there's this trial where the law enforcement agents are showing up in force. Now, I did a video on this a couple days ago, and I said it was like 30 or 40 cops. But man, there is way more cops showing up to these court hearings for Rodney Hinton Jr. than you can shake a stick at. And my question is, are all of these officers on the clock wasting taxpayer money as they are there not to protect and serve the community, but as an intimidation tactic against Rodney Hinton? And before I play this video right here, and it's pretty interesting what's going on. Some are calling Hinton a hero. They want to put money on his books and his commissary when he goes to prison. They say he'll be viewed with favor in prison as a hero because he took out a cop. Others are saying it's too late for him to pretend that he was a good dad because he failed his son, or his son would have never been in a situation where he surrounded himself with other kids who were stealing a vehicle. He wouldn't have had the illegal gun. They say that Rodney Hinton Jr. is a murderer who should have the book thrown at him. Some point out that he has no bond, whereas if a cop did the same exact thing, there would be a bond and he'd be free before his hearing. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving parts, and we're going to look at a couple of news stories about this.
Boy, emotions running very high inside and outside of court today as the man charged with murdering Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy Larry Henderson is ordered held on no bond. Thanks for joining us here at 4 o'clock. I'm Cherie Palillo.
And I'm Ashley Kirkland. Our team of reporters covering all angles of this story, including reaction from the Sheriff's Department and those who knew Deputy Henderson. But first, we start with WLWT News 5's Brian Hamrick, who was in the courtroom for Rodney Hinton Jr.'s hearing. Brian.
So, of course, they're going to memorialize Larry Henderson, Deputy Larry Henderson, as a hero. There's going to be this big, long funeral procession where they close down the road, shut down the cities, bring out the canines. Everybody's going to be on the clock. There's going to be flags. There's going to be 21 gun salute. It's going to be crazy. We know what happened. So I'm going to toggle in between stories here because I want to get the full flavor of what's going on.
The man accused of intentionally mowing down retired Hamilton County Deputy Larry Henderson and killing him is denied bond. Rodney Hinton Jr. is charged with aggravated murder in the death of Deputy Larry Henderson. Then this happened on Friday, and Cincinnati police say that Hinton was distraught after viewing body cam footage of his son's death at the hands of one of their officers on Thursday. We do have live team coverage of these events inside and outside the courtroom. We want to begin today with Local 12's Morella Porter. Morella, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, Liz. It was incredibly tense inside of the courtroom. Hamilton County Sheriff Charmaine McGuffey, her deputies, and Cincinnati police officers filled the courtroom in force for Rodney Hinton's bond hearing. Take a look at this video from...
What's going on with people's lips these days? I mean, this is a side issue, but man, they're blowing up like balloons.
Inside of the courtroom. When Hinton walked up to the podium in front of the judge, his brother refused to sit down, resulting in chaos when an officer tugged on his shirt to get him to listen. Hinton was briefly escorted out as his brother was taken out of the gallery. Once the hearing got started, an investigator laid out the evidence against Hinton, explaining how he was so distraught after seeing body cam video of his son being killed that his family drove him home because they were concerned about him. Hinton is accused of deliberately mowing down Deputy Larry Henderson with his car after picking it up around 12:40 in the afternoon at CPD's parking lot Friday. Within 20 minutes, Deputy Henderson was run over as he directed traffic for UC's graduation. Prosecutors believe Henderson was the first law enforcement officer Hinton saw, and that's why he was targeted. The investigator says a street camera and video captured from a bus in the area, along with witness testimony, showed Hinton park in a median and angle his car at Henderson before accelerating and running him over. Hinton's attorney, Clyde Bennett, said Hinton was not in the right mental state at the time.
Here's somebody else referencing what she's saying. Look at his face. As she mentioned, the airbags hit him. Look at the top and the right side of his face. The airbags come out on the right side if you are on the passenger side. And so this is what I mean by the media lying and creating narratives. If this accident was so horrific, where is all the video footage of the ambulance on the scene, police on the scene, the white sheets, the yellow? None of that has occurred, right? Why are they hiding the actual footage from the scene? There is no coverage of this incident on the scene except the picture that you see everywhere, just a crash car. And it's the same thing that they are doing with Ryan Hinton Jr. They're stopping and stealing the frames. They're showing the picture. The only live footage that they're showing you is the officer running up right before he quote unquote shot out young brother. They're stealing the camera while the young boy's laying down the gun. Oh, this is where he stopped and tripped and he got back up and he picked up the gun. No, don't tell us what happened. Show us the video so we can determine that for ourselves. So this is breaking. Somebody just sent me this last night. You see, I'm out of my element, but I still had to do this because once again, they are trying to railroad my brother. And you can tell that they know. If you listen to that lady in the press conference the other day, that DA, she says, well, he came and, he come and, even even when they're trying to charge him with 2 counts of aggravated murder for the change charges, not 2 different counts like aggravated murder or involuntary manslaughter or murder in the first degree. No, they charge him with 2 counts of the same charge. That means there are 2 deaths. And, according to the person I received, that lady who was allegedly driving the vehicle has since passed. But they are using our brother as a scapegoat. And that's why I believe that they have not put him under the jail. And I don't mean that figuratively. I mean that literally. That's why they haven't buried him under the jail for being the cause of one of their fellow officers' death. I think everybody knows that. Everybody knows, and you can tell in the press conference, they look at their eyes. Just look at their eyes and how soulless they are, because they are making and loving a lie.
The weight of the evidence, the nature and circumstances of the offense charged as being an offense of violence, the defendant's mental condition, and the nature and seriousness of his danger to police officers and others in the community strongly suggest that denying bond is both in the interest of the community and in the interest of the defendant.
I want to make certain that this young man is treated as a mentally ill person and not as a cop killer. I don't think he was a cop killer. I think he was not in his right mind. And I think he should be treated like any other mentally ill person.
Now, his defense attorney, Clyde Bennett, says he plans to order a competency evaluation.
Isn't it interesting how they will point at you if you take out one of their own as a cop killer, but nobody looks at the cops as we the people killers?
For Hinton. For now, live at the Justice Center, Morella Porter, Local 12 News.
Thank you, Morella. And shortly after Rodney Hinton was denied bond, Sheriff Charmaine McGuffey spoke with Local 12's Christian Hauser. He joins us now live with what the sheriff just announced in the department and what they are doing to honor it.
Let me show you what happened inside the courtroom here. This is where his brother is outside causing a ruckus, and we're going to see some footage on that too. Rodney Hinton Jr., by the way, when he walks in and out of the proceedings, he's eyeballing these cops, showing absolutely no remorse for what he did. A lot of people are pointing that out as he's just a cold-blooded cop killer. This is where his brother is causing a ruckus behind the glass.
Okay, so let's try to armchair quarterback what we believe is going on here right now. So Hinton was escorted by police from Claremont County into the courtroom right here. There was some sort of commotion right outside with police officers then quickly escorting Hinton back out, likely for his own safety. His attorney remaining in the courtroom there with the judge. So this, of course, the man accused of hitting and killing that retired sheriff's deputy, making his no bond appearance. Okay, now we're listening outside.
Apparently this right here, the guy with the hat and the beard, is Hinton's brother.
So obviously words being exchanged right there between
words that we can't put on TV. So we need to kill the mic there for just a little bit.
Words that we can't put on TV.
Right, but you're still taking a live look. So this is just outside, kind of giving you a perspective here. This is just outside of room A. So this is down in the Hamilton.
Oh, do you see the twitch on this cop? Look at he's got the cop twitch. Watch.
Kind of giving you a perspective here. This is just outside of room A. So this is down in the Hamilton County
Yeah,
Courthouse.
see, he did it
You
again.
can see obviously a number of sheriff's deputies. They were there on Saturday lined up. They're there today lined up as well. And now at this point, obviously, folks very emotional over this
very
case.
high in this.
So they did have to remove Hinton at this point. And if you recall, Hinton actually, as we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, is being housed in the Claremont County Jail because of security reasons, because of these tensions that are likely, I mean, still occurring. This is a live look. This is not even recorded video. This is what we're looking at live. So obviously what they're going to have to do, at least remove the people who are getting too emotional right now. However, I'm not sure if they're then going to bring Hinton back.
They may. I believe that this is.
Man, look at how many cops were at this. Come on now. I think he moved up to the window or something like that, and someone grabbed him or touched him. But this is crazy. Look at all those police. Why are they like not at work? Did they have a call and say, hey, listen, everybody that's a police officer needs to show up here or else you're going to get docked pay? Like how? And like, what is going on here?
Sergeants, lieutenants, beat cops. What is this? Special forces right here. Look at the arm tattoos. Look at all the sergeants.
Now all this happened because he walked up to the thing and knocked on it and waved at his brother. And then next thing you know, all the police officers stood up like robots and
Come on, man, y'all cool. I just want my brother to see me. I just want my brother to see me.
See the cop right here with the twitch?
I just want my brother to see me. I just want my brother to see me. I just want my brother to see me.
He just wanted his brother to see him.
They did this shit before. They did this shit before. That's the way to do it. They did it before. I got video of him messing with my brother and me before. I ain't do nothing. I just want my brother to see me. I ain't do nothing to him. That's my family. That's my family next door. Ray, please. Ray, please. Doing all that. Now, see me what, man? Now, that one motherfucker there on my brother, man.
So obviously a lot of high emotions.
I'll get to what Sheriff McGuffey said regarding the chaos in the courtroom in just a minute. First, though, she wanted to focus on Deputy Larry Henderson. She thanked the community for the outpouring of support the deputies have received since the murder of the deputy. Now, we learned more about that fallen officer, including that he spent 33 years with the department and retired just 5 months ago. Now, the sheriff announced Henderson's badge number 129 will be retired. She described him as brave and wanting to be on the front lines to serve. She also noted that he was a Marine veteran. McGuffey says they will mourn and celebrate Larry, including having a full honor send-off for him later this week.
He just wanted his brother to see him. And that turned into all that. Why are all those police in one place like that? This is like a gang. This is like gang police, okay? But it's almost like it's creating the way that they're trying to film it and talk about it. It's like trying to create discord.
Asked her how the family's doing right now.
Full honor send-off. How many lives has this guy ruined in his 33-year career? How many times has he extorted from the people he's supposed to be protecting and serving? How many times did he pull the trigger and end an innocent person's life? How many people are sitting in prison right now because of Larry Henderson? How many innocent people did he feed to the prison industrial complex?
His family is doing as well as can be expected.
Good point. And so I wanted to show that, but even more, I wanted to like really break down this psychological operation. You know what I'm saying? Because when it really boils down to, this is what this is. Okay. It's a psychological operation. And Tariq Nasheed talked about that and how they're trying to make an example out of him. Let's go.
They're trying to have a brave face, but yeah, that shook their asses because he set a precedent for direct retribution. See, his actions, that represented a form of street justice that's rare, but it's very symbolic. And cops fear that if his act is seen as justifiable in the eyes of the public, more aggrieved people might follow suit. You see? And the problem is they're not at an advantage, or they're not in a position to try to play the moral card, because these race soldiers have been doing immoral shootings. It's very immoral to shoot somebody then lie about it. It's immoral to shoot somebody when they're running away for safety. and they're not pointing a gun at you and you shoot them and then say that they had a gun pointed at you, that's immoral. So you're not in a moral position to point your finger. And the race soldiers are very shook by this situation because Hinton's getting a lot of sympathy from Black society. His commissary has been packed out. They have to reset his commissary every 14 days because so many people are putting money on his books. He's getting a lot of support, and that's really making these folks nervous, seeing all the support Hinton is getting. You see? And that's making law enforcement realize that their traditional media manipulation, that's losing ground. And in public opinion within Black society, it's ungovernable by propaganda at this point. And Hinton's actions basically expose the fragility of the whole thin blue line. You see, if one grieving parent can strike fear across law enforcement ranks nationwide, then it shows that that whole thin blue line is more thinner and more brittle than they expect it to be.
Ungovernable. Like, so basically they're unable to control the narrative. They're unable to control it. And then this is the whole thing is really a psychological operation on us because and the thing is that the more that the media comes out lying, the more people like Mr. Richard Taylor are coming out with the truth, and they can't control the narrative anymore. So let's go into the PSYOP. Okay, let's understand what a PSYOP is. Okay, let's go.
So the first thing you need to know is following the FATE model: focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. This is what triggers the mammalian part of our brain that makes all of our real decisions. The first part is focus. PSYOPs always aim to hijack your attention with repetition, shocking visuals of fear-inducing scenarios. Some examples are like 24/7 media coverage of a crisis or constant repetition of terms like unprecedented. So with this, pause and ask, why is this message being pushed so aggressively? So compare how much airtime different stories are receiving and note any disproportionate focus. The second part here is authority. Trusted figures might shift their tone or positions unnaturally to support the narrative. So watch very closely for expert panelists or endorsements where authority figures might speak outside of their expertise. Pay close attention to that one. Then we have tribe. So messages that polarize opinions or create stark in-groups versus out-groups or exploit our tribal instincts. For example, labeling groups as patriots versus traitors or scientific versus deniers. Be very careful when you hear that language. Finally, we have emotion. So be wary of any communication that triggers strong emotions like fear, hope, or outrage without any clear, verifiable evidence. So emotional responses suppress critical thinking. Emotional responses suppress critical thinking. So as a tip here, analyze the evidence that's presented to you. If facts are replaced by appeals to emotion, you need to be very, very cautious. As an example of this, think about like a news channel repeatedly showing images of empty grocery shelves and panicked shoppers during a food supply scare. It dominates every broadcast and it pushes people into fear-driven behavior. Next, question novelty. Our brains are wired to focus on sudden or unusual changes because they signal potential threats or opportunities. And this is an evolutionary survival mechanism. PSYOPs exploit this by creating events that break normal expectations, like unexpected crises or dramatic revelations. So ask yourself, why is this new? So consider if the event or somebody's message has been artificially manufactured or timed. Look for patterns like sudden shifts in public opinion, trending hashtags that are unusual, or viral videos that seem very coincidental. So for this one, just picture a new viral video just claims to expose a government cover-up, but it conveniently comes out the exact same day that there's some damaging evidence against some high-ranking official. The timing shifts public focus. All of this is part of the NCI system I developed for teaching tradecraft and extreme psychological operations. And there's even a gigantic textbook for all of this stuff in the description. Definitely not for everybody, but it's definitely the most comprehensive guide in the world on this stuff. So next item, look for multiple sources. Centralized narratives create an echo chamber, and they silence dissent and they narrow perspectives. For example, if all media outlets present identical talking points, it is a humongous red flag. So actively seek out contrarian or independent voices, even if they challenge something that's already in your head. In reality, an example, during a maybe breaking health crisis, all the major news outlets report on the exact same study, but independent researchers revealed the study was funded by a company selling the solution. So watch for that group speak. Next is identify cognitive dissonance weapons. Let's talk about how this works. So cognitive dissonance comes up when new information clashes with our identity or our beliefs. So PSYOPs exploit the hell out of this by including micro agreements. Micro agreements are little, small, seemingly harmless concessions to shape your identity. And over time, you're going to unconsciously align your behavior to reduce that internal conflict. And as a weaponization example of this, a PSYOP might present you as a part of moral or intelligent enlightenment, like only good citizens do XYZ. If you disagree with that, you risk some identity conflict there. So reflect on your identity and ask, am I being nudged to identify with some other group? So be very careful of any campaigns that are asking for seemingly minor commitments there, like signing petitions, changing your profile picture that evolves into some bigger compliance or demand later. As an example of this, let's say a company launches an ad campaign and they claim real patriots buy local. If you disagree with their product, it feels like rejecting your identity as a patriot. So this pushes you to conform. Be very, very skeptical about those identity statements. Next is looking for those emotional scripts. And what I mean by this is the scripts that were written in our brains by our ancestors. So manipulated narratives trigger instincts like the fear of loss or scarcity, social rejection, or danger. For example, a media story about food shortages might activate survival scripts that cause panic buying and stuff like that. And we have scarcity fear. This is sudden warnings about limited resources like water or medicine. Also sparks that kind of behavior. And then we have tribal rejection. These are threats of being socially outcast, like you're selfish if you don't comply. Those things override logic every time. And as a tip for this, break the script by focusing on the facts. Like, what's the likelihood of this scenario? So compare the claims with other sources. For this, just picture where a politician says something like, if we don't act now, our children will not have a future. This taps into survival instincts, those ancestor scripts in our head. And it's tied to protecting offspring. It creates urgency without any facts. Next is follow the money. So there's a trail of beneficiaries here. So identifying who benefits always is going to reveal the motive. So look for funding sources like sponsorships or political connections that are tied to the narrative. So use tools like opensecrets.org or public financial records to see who profits from this. So for policies or campaigns, identify the industries like pharmaceuticals, tech companies, etc., that stand to gain the most. So to illustrate this in your mind right now, picture a charity that's promoting clean energy awareness, and they seem noble until an investigations are showing that it's funded by a solar panel corporation that's lobbying for subsidies or something like that. Next, and this one is very important, is analyze the context boundary. The mechanism here is context, and context defines what is permissible. So manipulative people shift contexts to normalize extreme behavior. As an example of this, in emergencies, people accept surveillance or martial law that they normally would completely resist. So ask, what is the context? Compare some similar events in different settings to see if the rules or responses seem disproportionate. Look for contradictions. So for lots of the students who are brand new to NCI University, this right here is the most massive realization when they realize that the ability to weaponize cognitive dissonance and then shift the context can get anyone to do almost anything.
So I'm trying to explain to you that within this is not, it's not just a regular news story. This is also a psychological operation that is used to make us feel a certain kind of a way. And then more laws and this, that, the other will come into play. We'll see that they're going to probably even try to pass more laws to protect the police, you know, in a situation like this. So let's go a little bit further about this whole situation.
It was an incredible shock, you can imagine, to get that call and have to show up one by one to find out the shape that Larry was in, to find out the tragedy that had occurred. And it was incredibly heart-wrenching for all of our deputies who remained at the hospital, who remained for hours and hours and hours waiting and making sure.
Isn't this kind of like a narcissistic way of looking at something? Now I get it. You know, you lost a deputy. He lost his son. Okay. Now they might have lost a father. It's crazy how this whole thing happened. I'm not sure exactly what part things are going to come out, whether or not he was the one driving or not. You know, I'm sure they're probably going to overlook I'm not sure if those witnesses are going to come forward. I'm not sure if they're going to subpoena the ones that said she had her name there loud as day, saying that he wasn't the one, he didn't do it. It was another person driving, as you can see in this whole live here, where she's talking about this lady says that he wasn't the one driving. I wonder how much will you actually see people that come out in the court process when they really go into it. But it's almost like gaslighting to only focus on the fact that he lost his life. But this is a distraught father who lost his son to a police who shot the son in the back while he was running, and it's like, and everybody is only talking about how they were heart-wrenched and gut-wrenched and this, that, the other. Let's go.
That we met the family's needs.
She's the police chief. It's such a joke.
Now, back to that chaos in the courtroom. The sheriff's office provides the deputies for security inside there. And when asked about keeping things under control at future hearings and trying to prevent future incidents like what happened today, Sheriff McGuffey tells me that she knows emotions can run high, but it's the deputies' job to keep the peace inside those courtrooms. She added that they must respect everyone's rights and respect everyone in the community, which is why I think they worked to try and calm down that man who said he was the brother of Rodney Hinton Jr. instead of arresting him.
The outburst is so intense, Hinton is escorted out of the courtroom. They finally get things under control, and Hinton returns for the.
You see how they just made him like he was just tripping, and all he said was, "I just wanted to get up. I want my brother to see me, that I was there for him." There's a whole big old like some doors or whatever. He wanted to like show up at the front of that thing, let his brother know that he was there to support him, and instead of them just letting him do whatever, they had to incite something and make it, and then get everybody up and everybody's walking around and make a whole scene of this. This type of stuff is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because why not just let him do what he gonna do? He wasn't hurting nobody by doing that. I'm sure the judge has control of his courtroom. He could have told him to sit down. Why are the police jumping in the middle of that and then causing the whole scene look like a riot in the courthouse?
This special hearing to hold him with no bond.
Deputy Henderson was.
The prosecution called a Cincinnati police detective. He revealed new information. The detective said Hinton had been at the Cincinnati police station to meet with the chief and see body cam from the day before.
He's gonna come on your right, on your right.
Okay, here we go.
This is what Hinton saw. His son, Ryan Hinton, shot to death by a Cincinnati police officer during a stolen car incident. After seeing the video, the detective said,
No, that is not what he saw. What he saw was that image that we played earlier that showed the police officer shooting his son in the back. That's what he saw. That's exactly what he saw. Not this.
It was emotional.
It looks to me like his son was running away. And in the body cam, it is so grainy, it's so blurry and shaky. You can't tell what's what, but you can tell that he is running away from the cop.
The video.
I don't even see if there's. Okay, so he's against this dumpster right here, and it's dark.
The detective said Hinton was emotional. Family didn't even want him driving
I didn't see a gun.
home. He didn't, but later came back and got.
It looks to me like the deputy who shot Hinton's son shot him as he was running away.
That's exactly what
From
happened.
there, he headed to the UC campus where there were UC graduation ceremonies. And retired Hamilton County Deputy Larry Henderson was doing a special detail directing traffic. The detective said Hinton picked.
Do you hear how the news channel is and so and so and so and so? He was see they learn how to do this in class. There's like a whole communication class where they learn how to talk to them and make their voice like this. You know what I'm saying? Why is that the tone of this news story is to incite emotion? You hear me?
Henderson, because he was the first officer he could find, didn't hit the accelerator.
Were there any evidence of skid marks?
No, there were no indications at any point that he tried to brake, stop, or otherwise avoid Deputy Henderson.
Clyde Bennett, Hinton's attorney, made no secret that this is a mental health case.
I think the conduct in question is classic mental illness criminal conduct. It's always intentional, it's bold, it's conspicuous.
I don't know that.
Yeah, in the end, Judge Tyrone Yates said there would be no bond for Hinton. Now, we did get a look at some evidence today.
See how he's just excited to hear that there was no bond? It's crazy.
Revealed they didn't show it in court, but they did mention that there are at least 2 videos of this. One captured the entire incident and one showed at least part of it.
So you got a dad who's pissed off at what happened to his son, and he took matters into his own hands. He retaliated against Cincinnati Police Department. He picked the first guy that he could find. Larry Henderson was in the way. He would do. And now the Cincinnati Thin Blue Line Club is going to memorialize Deputy Larry Henderson as a warrior hero.
It's crazy. So let's go into, I want to really go in before I like close this whole thing out into how this whole thing is going to incite, and this is part of the PSYOP, how it is going to incite more racial tension.
Because you got law enforcement agencies around the country shook behind this. You see, a lot of them are shook behind this. I'm talking all around the country, because now you don't know if you go out here and harm some black kid, it ain't gonna be sweet. It ain't gonna be no easy win like you think it is. The system ain't gonna be able to cover for you like you think it is. This is what they're thinking, because they fear a copycat act of vengeance might pop off. Even if it's rare, the idea that others might be inspired by Hinton, that makes these departments go on edge. And police know that. They know if retaliation becomes even symbolically acceptable, the system's entire enforcement framework weakens, because you can't stop the shit. You understand? Because that's a form of guerrilla warfare. You can't stop that. You can't stop somebody from popping down and running down on you on some lone wolf shit after you done hurt their kid. You can't stop them, or one of your fellow officers, because now the law enforcement, they have to think, if they go out here and unjustly kill a black person and then try to hide the officer like they're doing in Cincinnati, the officer that actually did the shooting, they thought they were slick by trying to hide him and hide his identity and all that stuff. And Brother Hinton said, hey man, hey, all of you guys are a gang, so everybody can get it. So law enforcement, they realize them harming one black person, you put the rest of the department in the bullseye. And the usual playbook is just not working. You know, trying to smear Hinton as some kind of deranged criminal, that's not really working with the public. A lot of people see him as a father reacting to lies and reacting to cover-ups.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this, is that the new generation we're not the same. You know, we're I wouldn't even say that we're not the same as our ancestors, because they fought too. You know, they fought the best way that they could, and they was able to exact a lot of change. But you know, now I believe that they're probably going to come up with like some kind of like laws or whatever, and I want y'all to look out for that. Don't let them sneak these laws into play. They're going to try to sneak out, because of this situation, going to try to sneak up some more like things to make things illegal and things like that, and watch out for that. Watch out for it. It's coming, okay? So tomorrow I'm going to be bringing Mr. Taylor, Mr. Richard Taylor, who runs the sorry, let me just take it. Richard Taylor, he runs the channel that I'm talking about. He covers a lot of like of these situations when it comes to cops and stuff like that. And he even has some things on his channel. I want you guys to check his channel out. Let me go ahead and make this small if you get a chance, because we're going to be talking about a lot of this. It's going to be an open panel if you guys want to come up and ask questions, because you know, it's called Taylor House Publishing, and he talks about a lot of different stuff. He talks about, you know, there's the situation where the neighbors confirmed that the young man Michael Bosworth was trying to break into Taylor Chase's house. I mean, it's all type of stuff going on right now. I don't know what the issue is, why there's so much crime and stuff going on right now with all this, and why is it so like in the news. And I think it might be to cover some other stuff up, you know, because all of a sudden all these rashes of really crazy criminal activity are being like the focus of the news. And once again, I showed you guys about like psychological operations, and I think that this is more to incite the police to be able to double down even further. I wouldn't be surprised if more laws come into play, making the police more powerful and giving them more legal actions to take upon the citizens. So please watch out for that. It's coming up tomorrow at 7:00 p.m. 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. We're gonna have Mr. Taylor and Taylor House Publication. Let me just say this: you very seldomly do you have a person that's really telling the news, the real news. You know, it's one thing to watch CNN and just see that your timeline flooded with all these different reports and everything. It's another thing when you have a person that's actually finding out the real information, showing the real images, showing the real context of what's going on. Before I I'm gonna go into this case a little bit about the whole thing with Mr. Taylor, because he's facing a murder charge as well. So let's go.
Morning Saturday, trying to break into the house when they were confronted by the homeowner. Bosworth was shot and killed. One of the other boys wounded in the gunfire. Neighbors tell us they heard as many as 8 gunshots and that the teens had tried to break into other homes on the street that night. The boys who survived tell investigators they were only recording themselves dinging and ditching for a TikTok challenge, not trying to commit burglaries. Reaction here in the Fredericksburg neighborhood this afternoon.
I'm sorry the kid did that. I wish that he hadn't done what he did because he had to pay the ultimate price. Nobody likes that. Nobody, not even the homeowner. Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
Not a good idea. It's not safe. Just don't do it.
Because you don't know what's on the other side of the door.
Right. Just don't do it.
Of course, she's talking about the whole notion of dinging and ditching. We're told grief counselors were at Massaponax High School today. Michael Bosworth was set to graduate later this month. We're told Saturday night's prom went on as scheduled. Michael's stepfather, who I spoke to on the phone this afternoon.
See this? That appeal to emotion. So this person ditched somebody's house. The person thought that they were getting robbed. They did it to several other people, and they probably thought they were getting broken into as well. And we're talking about whether or not he was going to graduate at the end of the year. Like, sir, like, why are you even doing that? You're about to graduate. Why aren't you at home doing college applications, playing video games, something other than what you're doing right here? You know, so this is the type of weird sensationalist news that's going on with this, in this inciting racial tension. And that's the psychological operation that's going on. And that is what I was showing you, even how Tariq Nasheed was really breaking this whole thing down, you know, with this whole thing about how people are going to be looking at this stuff and how it's really going to break it down.
And that whole tactic, that old bullshit about dehumanizing Black Avengers, that's just not hitting like they think it's going to hit. And the whole moral thing ain't working because this exposed the whole coordinated lying among the police, the media, and the prosecutors. Video evidence contradicted their official story. All of these bastards got together and lied. And they knew they were lying. So if all of them are lying, the media, law enforcement, the prosecutors, the spokespersons, if all of them are lying, then the entire system is corrupt and people look at that system as being delegitimized and fair game. That's just how human nature works. And that confirmed what many people in Black society believe, that the media, the police, the DA, they all work together to lie about killings. So now this Hinton's actions, that's forced the public to have a discussion about this form of corruption. You're just not going to do I'm white and I say so no more. We got to sit here and just let everybody lie, killing people, and then everybody get together and lie about it. And what he did, he turned trauma into action. And law enforcement, they count on Black trauma to lead to depression, not defiance. And see, Hinton, he transformed his grief into retaliation. And that type of unpredictability scares them because you don't have a psychological profile on who's going to be the next Hinton. They don't know. Who's this giving these thumbs ups and thumbs down? Who's giving the thumbs up and thumbs down? That's positive solution. Okay, get on here if you're giving the thumbs up, thumbs down. But this is a shift in the moral narrative, because a lot of people view Hinton as a moral actor, not a criminal. That shakes the foundation of the legal and cultural legitimacy of law enforcement, you see.
All right, so I just wanted to bring that up and show you guys that. So listen, later on tonight, in about 3 hours from, or 2 hours, at 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock Central, we're going to be continuing on our principles of E5 with Abundance Child. Abundance Child and Baba Yashabai. We're going to go get into that. We're going to have some more guests that's going to join us in the discussion of E5. So if you guys get a chance, come back and see us here at about 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. Thank you for sitting with me, and peace.
Trying to get it right. Transition, changing the way that I see life. Transition mind. I'm on a mission, trying to get it right. I'm transitioning my life.